This is James Carville, and I would like to take this opportunity to talk to the Democrats of the 5th Congressional District of the great state of Connecticut. On the ballot in your primary for the United States Congress, you have the opportunity to vote for, in my opinion, one of the most extraordinary young men that I've ever had the opportunity to make an acquaintance with. Dan Roberti is the kind of person that we need in the Democratic Party. We need somebody like Dan Roberti in Washington representing us. I came to know Dan in the fall of 2005 when his studies at Loyola University in New Orleans were disrupted as a result of Hurricane Katrina. Dan was with me for the better part of a year, became like a family member to my family. And I know what kind of values Dan has. I know where his commitment is. I know where his heart is. He shares our democratic values of tolerance, of opportunity, of inclusion, of respect for people all across this great country. And I think that if he goes to Washington, he'll bring the kind of values and the kind of ethics that we as Democrats really need. So I urge you to really consider to vote for Dan. His long time roots in Connecticut. His grandfather was a longshoreman on the docks in Connecticut. His father served in the Connecticut State Senate for a period of time. This is a young man that is really just what we need in politics. As so often we're kind of believe as we get disillusioned or we don't get the right kinds of people in politics. Well, we have that kind of great person in Dan Roberti. And I would also point out to my good Democratic friends in the 5th Congressional District that this district is very much a toss-up come November. And we need to send a kind of youthful kind of candidate that has the right kind of message into the general election, because if we allow these kind of negative tactics that I'm reading about and seeing here in this primary to dominate, then we're going to be no different than the Republicans. And we need to really distinguish ourselves. And that's another very important thing here, is that Dan can run the kind of campaign, present the party in a kind of way that's going to ensure that we keep this very important district democratic. So I relish this opportunity to endorse, support, and lend my help in any kind of way for Dan Roberti. I would say from the vantage point of people here in New Orleans, my hometown, his commitment is the way that he helped people. And after the storm, he was a student in pastoral studies at Loyola University, a great Jesuit institution down here, which is 1 block from my house. And he's remembered as one of the great legendary students at Loyola. And he's remembered for not only his intelligence, but his extraordinary humanity and the way that he helped run different projects down here in New Orleans during the recovery. And I think that any time that we have a chance to promote someone like that, to send them to Congress, to talk about what it really means to be a Democrat, and talk about the things that made us a great party and our party great and this country great, we should not pass that opportunity up. And I shouldn't pass the opportunity up to be able to do something that I rarely, if ever, do, and that is endorse a Democrat in a primary. But these extraordinary circumstances where we have an extraordinary young man running, and I want to lend my support in any way I can to the candidacy of Dan Roberti. Thank you very much for taking this time to listen to me.